consider, calling us, because it's just not in their belief system at all. A lot of people, unfortunately, still believe that animals don't have thoughts and feelings, and we know that obviously they do. So it just really depends on the vet. What's wonderful about the program is one of my students in North Carolina finished the program. She's one of my associates now in the Institute. They have to do 20 hours of community service, and she did that with a vet clinic. And the vet was so impressed that she now has Linda on staff with her 1 day a week, and all she does, she goes in there and she has all of the clients ready for her to communicate with the animals telepathically. And the client will say, Linda, I need help in this area. I know that there's something going on, so I'd like you to, find out for me. And, the client has emergency, she'll call Linda. Linda, I need help. What's going on with this animal? Isn't that fascinating?
It's pretty
Carol,
remarkable.
Had I not taken your program, and what I also have them do is at the very end of the program do a 30-minute lecture on animal communication, and Linda chose to lecture to a group of veterinarians. And so then she takes that lecture, she presents to us, her peers, and then we critique her. And she said, had I not done that, had I not taken your program, done 64 cases, so I really knew what I was doing, I would never have been able to do this with the veterinarian. And she said, now the vet has asked me to lecture, And so, there it is. And I'm like, oh, this is so fabulous, so fabulous that vets are coming along, and beginning to see of what value we can be to them, because we're there to support them, to enhance what they do, and only make things better.
Have you ever been wrong?
Oh, sure, sure. And that was more in my earlier days, because what I chose to do was I sold my business that I had at the time, and I took a year off, and I did research. And the research for me was to do consultations free of charge, because I didn't know what it meant to me. I thought, what am I supposed to do with this? How can I be of help to people? What is this all about? So in that research, I made my mistakes, you bet so. But the mistakes helped me to learn more, to better increase my skills and my accuracy for people. So I sure have.
It's like anything, isn't it? You develop this faculty.
That's how you learn. And if you choose not to learn from it, guess what? You don't get very good at it. You don't get very good at it because you're holding yourself back, because you don't want to be wrong. So to me, I found telepathy one of the most challenging things that I've ever done in my entire life, because I was a really intellectual person. I wasn't into my feelings, wasn't comfortable with that. But boy, did I just stuck with it. I thought to myself, I believe that other people could do it, but I wasn't sure whether I could. And I thought, if I could do this, if I could hear what they, were thinking, if I could feel their feelings, oh my gosh, it would be a dream come true. And I'm so glad I stuck with it, because I'm an extremely determined person. I probably needed to have like 10,538 validations before I could really believe it, because I was a black and white person. But when I started getting things that were so specific, and the people would say, how did you know that? I said, I don't know. I just asked the animal. And I started seeing that happen over and over and over. And then people started coming to me for problem solving. And when I saw the problems resolve, and I thought, oh my gosh, there really is something to this.
Do you need to see a photo of the animal in order to...
I don't, but most people do. And some people don't. I certainly... in the beginning, photos are really helpful, because just to make sure that you're going to connect with the right animal. Mm-hmm. Because suppose somebody's asking you to talk to Jessie, who lives with a person in Alaska. But if you don't have the photo, there could be other Jessies who are a border collie and are black and white, and you could be tuning into a Jessie who fits that description, but they live in Colorado and not Alaska.
Are you near a computer right now?
Yeah.
Can you go to It's Rainmaking Time?
Okay, I've got it.
All right, and you go to animals on the categories.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you'll see a picture of Simba.
Oh, yeah.
Click Simba.
There's Simba.
Yeah, and you click that, and it'll go big.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, I'm sure that you are asked to read stuff fast and on the spot and all that, and I'm not sure it's appropriate on the show, but if you want to say anything, if you want to just kind of strut your stuff, if there's anything you'd like to do, you can. If not, we can cut this out.
You know what we can do is what I would love to do that, but I don't do things on the spot.
Yeah.
I just don't, because it's been proved to me from other communicators doing things on spot, too, that they've been wrong. And I've been wrong. And so what I do is I always gather the information and do it on my own time so that I make sure for me and for my client that I'm doing the best job possible.
Absolutely.
So that I can go deep enough and come back. Because a lot of times what happens is the people's thoughts can override
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think, I just wouldn't want to do that.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Well, if you want to, you don't know anything other than what I told you. If you want to do anything and you want to say anything or input anything and call me back at any point, we will record it and we will put your head on it, because you don't know anything about Simba except that I love her. And, of course, everybody loves their animal, but that's all you know.
Yeah. Well, what I'd like to gather with you is just, obviously I know your address, but when did she pass on?
February 18th, in my lap.
Okay. All right. And then what would be nice, though, is if you have questions for her, such as, what I help people understand is, what questions they can ask, such as, is she with anybody? Is she coming back? And if she's coming back, does she know what body did she want to stay in that particular type of body? That type of thing. So that there's lots of questions we can do here. You know what I mean?
Very interesting. There's a lot of people who may have their own intuitive capability, as all people do, or they have a developed sense, or somehow it allows them to be successful and effective at what they're doing. But somehow when it comes to this realm, let's say with the animal kingdom, there's a bifurcation that takes place, or a disassociation that takes place that says, look, if they can't articulate in the language that we know of, then that which they're communicating is not language. And I loved your book titled The Language of Animals.
Right.
7 Steps to Communicating with Animals, because you're tapping into their language.
Right.
But in part of your reading animals, you are translating, correct?
What I'm doing is, and I'm not reading animals, I'm actually talking with them, communicating with them, because we try to stay away from that word reading, because it equals psychic. So we say that we're communicating with them. And what happens is this: sometimes we'll actually get the thought as they are saying it, thinking it. And so we're using actual words of theirs. But a lot of times what happens with telepathy is they send us a concept, and it is so quick that we have to then hunt for the words that best describes what they just told us. And sometimes it's difficult. Like if the animal is telling us, how much they love their person, just to say, yes, they say that they love you, it's not enough. So what we try to do is just hunt for a way of expressing that so people really get the level and the depth of it,
One day I was laying in the bath, and I had 2 cats, Simba and Alex, her brother, who passed a few years back, and all of a sudden I started to sing this song. And they sat like bookends and closed their eyes and looked majestically and looked up. And every time I sang the song, they either stopped or they came up to me and stopped. And that's where I started to test singing this song to other animals. So I have the song for animals now, and almost like Dr. Seuss or whatever, I'm going to come out with this song. It's completely wild, but it works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I think one of the things it's really neat for people to know, and people get to learn this when the students do their cases. The students will usually tell their clients, and what's important to do is talk to your animal, talk to them aloud, tell them what's going on. Their clients will call back and go, I can't believe it. It's making a huge difference in our relationship. And it does. People, think that when they take them to the vet's office and they're going to stay overnight, They just drop them off. And usually the animal is extremely